Okay, folks, welcome to another review of Bloodruth #1. We're going to be looking at the famous double-page snafu this time. Oh my gosh, get ready for this. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know what snafu means, it means situation normal all effed up. It's a military acronym. They love their acronyms. And you will find it entirely appropriate for what I'm about to show you. What we're talking about, of course, is this double page spread. It was actually featured on one of the Bloodruth #1 preview pages. It's a wonderful piece of art by Michael Montanot, and unfortunately, they found a way to screw it up. It does not actually appear like this in the Bloodruth book. Instead, it appears with the left half having been consigned to the right side of the book, and then when you turn the page, you see the remainder of it on the left-hand side. Oh my goodness. Now, how on earth did they screw this up? Well, Eric July did try to get out in front of this and offer his own explanation as to how this goof occurred. It goes something like this. I may have screwed up just a little bit. Now, this scene, how the Saskas did it, they originally planned for it to be this double page like spread or splash page or what have you. And I was looking at it especially with the black and white edition, which I do believe it still plays out a little better in the black and white edition than it does in the color edition. What if we were to go for this more cinematic look, as if you can imagine sort of the camera like panning? You see one part of it, and then you see the other side as it slowly pans, say from left to right or what have you. Now, again, I'm thinking this is going to play out cinematically. It's going to look real cool because the next page you get the full reveal, right? And after looking at it, especially the color version of it, I don't know if it landed the way that I thought. So this is what Eric basically wants you to believe. He wants you to believe that he had this burst of creativity that said, what if I took this perfectly good double page splash and I split it up so that when the reader turns the page, it's like panning from one side of the page to the other. Now, here's the problem that I have with that explanation, and it is simply this. For all that to be true, we have a number of other things that need to be true first. And foremost among them is that Eric July would have to be a complete moron. There is absolutely no way that you would look at this and think it is somehow better than just doing a double page spread the way double page spreads have been done since the history of double page spreads. The other thing you'd have to believe is that Eric July's editors are all equally as moronic as him, and or they're also doormats who can't stand up to them if they do disagree. I mean, come on, your job as an editor is to say something's wrong here. If neither Caro Brown nor Andrew Rodriguez or Kanan White could stand up to Eric July and say, Eric, come on, this is not how you do double page spreads. This is going to look ridiculous. We can't do this. And then what good are they? Moreover, Eric would have to read comics differently from every other human being. Look at what he says. You can imagine sort of the camera like panning from left to right or what have you. No, I can't because here I have left and right in front of me. I can pan my eyes left to right over this. But when you turn the page, that left side is gone now. There's nothing to pan from. You're just stuck on the new page, getting in the new image, which is what you're expecting, not the second half of the prior page's image. And finally, Eric thinks that revealed things can be revealed a second time. Like he says here, it's going to look real cool because the next page you get the full reveal, right? Yeah, well, reveal of what? Reveal of the demon, of course. Well, there's a problem with that. We've already revealed the demon on the page before the double page spread even starts. We see him in all his glory right there. So there's nothing to reveal. So I just call BS on this whole thing. I don't believe for a moment that his explanation is actually what happened, especially in light of the fact that it makes him look like such a complete moron, and his editors as well. And there is something to be said for visibility and standing out, but you don't want to stand out like that. You don't want to be made to look as if creatively you're a complete buffoon. Unless there's an even worse possibility, and it all has to do with Rippaverse. Ripasend is Eric's side business where he offers a number of services to comic book creators and basically allows them to get their comic book dreams taken to fruition. He's helped Yellow Flash with his book Mighty Golden Patriot and Jay David with his book Achromatic Chronicles Green. And now he's actually landed a high dollar client in Angel Studios with their animated feature Gabriel and the Guardians. There's going to be an official number 0 issue published by Ripasend. Now, what does it mean to be published by Ripasend? Well, according to the Ripasend website, quality publishing includes high standard proofing, printing, and fulfillment. Proofing. High standard proofing. You mean maybe the kind of high standard proofing that doesn't let a perfectly good double page spread get split up? That kind of high standard proofing? Yeah, I think that's what high standard proofing kind of means. And oh my God, did you crap the bed on this one? So this is why basically he would lie, because the real narrative, if he didn't lie, would look something like this. Through my inattention and general lack of concern for the quality of my books, I allowed a major error into my latest book that makes me and my company a laughingstock to anyone who has been a comic book reader for even the slightest amount of time. And oh my goodness, I cannot imagine a narrative that wouldn't make a high dollar client run for the hills and look for another publisher. So Eric has to get out in front of this narrative, and he's got to quash it, and he's got to replace it with something, anything, even if it makes him look like a complete idiot. Something like, I made a poor creative choice that didn't turn out as I had expected, although I still think some versions of it look good, and maybe it'll turn out that readers will find it to their liking after all. Now, that's kind of narrative that might make Angel Studios come back down off the fence. And not that I've heard that he's in any trouble with them at all, but my God, how could he not be after demonstrating that kind of inattention and lack of concern for quality? Like I said, you don't want to be visible in certain ways. So I think what Eric's chosen in making his video explaining his version of how the error occurred is that he'd rather look like a fool on the creative end than look like a fool in the aspect of the business that he is actually offering to high dollar clients like Angel Studios. Because if he was actually capable of high standard proofing, then the Bloodruth double page snafu would never have happened. And you know how I say snafu means situation normal, all effed up? It is entirely normal for Rippaverse to be all effed up. If you have any doubt of that, you can look back at my Rippaverse playlist. I'm up to, including this video, 130 videos on Rippaverse from the company's inception to the present day, tracking the quality concerns that I have had with that company. So if you have not been following along from the beginning and you would like to get a good idea of just where Rippaverse has been, where it is now, then by all means, check out my Rippaverse playlist. I'd also like your money because I want to review Pigman #1 by Bosch Fawstin. Now, this is a Comicsgate property. This is not Rippaverse. Bosch Fawstin brings us the story of an anti-jihadi superhero who was created by a comic book artist who is a former Muslim himself and who has rejected his faith since 9/11, but must also deal with his pro-jihadi brother who has now embraced his Muslim faith since 9/11. So it's an interesting tale of two brothers, one of whom is a cartoonist who creates an anti-jihadi superhero. So Bosch Fawstin's Pigman, I'm looking for $10. I received a generous $10 donation already from one of my viewers, Mrs. G, who has a comic that I'm going to be reviewing in the near future. And $10 is all I need to get me the rest of the way to purchasing a PDF copy of Pigman #1 from Bosch Fawstin. So please do contribute via super thanks or in a super chat on a later live stream. Thanks again, I'm Mike Bartica. I appreciate your time in watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have another Bloodruth #1 review coming in the near future, and I hope you will subscribe so that you will get notified of when that review is ready. Thanks again for watching. I will talk to you later.